If you love the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and the Griswolds as much as I do, you have come to the right place. Today's video is full of DIY decor inspiration, all centered around my absolute favorite Christmas movies, so stay tuned. This is Whiskey and Whit. My name's Whitney, and on this channel I love to share tips, tricks, and tutorials all around DIYs and budget home decor. So if that sounds like something you would like, be sure to hit subscribe down below so you don't miss a future Whiskey and Whit video. And without further ado, let's have the happiest Christmas and get crafty.
We're going to start with a project that I've always wanted to do but haven't gotten around to, and that is a fried cat rug. It sounds so funny to say. But this is going to start with a Dollar Tree mat, and I ended up grabbing two, and you'll see why in a minute. First, I just took a white paint marker and just looked at a picture of a rug that they were selling online for 50 bucks, and I just recreated the shape. It was just basically an oval in the center with some legs and arms and then a tail. Now to get the kind of fried, like puffy cat effect, I needed to get some white fur, so Finn and I headed to Hobby Lobby and grabbed one of these sheets, and then I just made sure to separate the hair before you cut it, because if you don't, then you're going to get a weird like haircut and it's not going to be fluffy like the cat fur. I went through and cut a bunch of strips and then laid it out all around my cat to make sure I got full coverage. I only needed one sheet. Then flip your cat over and glue fur side down, because you are gluing on the back. You want the fur to be up, so it's basically backwards here. And I'm gluing all the way around the outside of my rug and adhering all of my fur to the outside so you have a nice white outline. Don't be afraid to cut your fur strips into smaller pieces to get the best border on your cat cutout. Then when that was done, my cat was complete, and then I added one of these just little Dollar Tree lights. You can put the battery pack underneath so it's hidden, and then I wanted to take it one step further with my second mat. I went ahead and spray painted it with just a couple different taupe or brown colors that I had in spray paint just already in my garage to make it look more like the taupe color carpet in the movie. It's not exact, but it helps it pop a little bit more here, as you can see on my floor, and the lights are just too funny. Also, that fur sheds a decent amount, but I think it adds to the overall kitschiness of the rug. This is going to live in my dining room just because it's a lot easier than living in my bathroom, and it's so cute right under the tree, and it is such a fun nod to Christmas Vacation. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about the movie, I just think of Christmas lights, and so I wanted to create a fun homage in this DIY. So I wanted to get some of these retro bulbs, and I was at Menards one day. That is a Midwest-based home improvement store, but you can find these at other hardware stores too. I grabbed some of these C7 replacement bulbs so that I could create this look. I grabbed a bunch of different colors, and they were only $1.50 per pack, which was really nice. Then I grabbed this cloche as well as these multicolor lights from the Target Dollar Spot. Each were $5. And I started by adding some of my little fairy light strands into the top of the flipped over cloche. What I like about this is that it's plastic and the bottom is wood, which is pretty. I added some of my bulbs in different colors and sizes. I got two different sizes of bulbs, and then I added some more lights, added some more bulbs, added some more lights. So then that way the twinkle light strand was embedded within my lights. Then I just popped on the bottom and gently flipped it over. And then, as you can see, my lights are embedded within the bigger lights. This thing looks so cute lit up with the lights in the bathroom on, but the other thing that's awesome is it really glows at night with the different light pieces that I have throughout my bathroom. If you don't want to go with the actual bulbs, you could also do Dollar Tree necklaces here. I grabbed 3, I unraveled them from the package, and then I kind of strategically tried to tie them up so it looked like a knotted kind of ball of lights from the movie. I stuck that in the same cloche and then leave the little pieces out in the back, and then you can turn it on and it will light up as well. Now, you guys know I love a good printable, so I did some different options for both the bathroom downstairs as well as our bedroom. Lately, I've been loving Hobby Lobby and Walmart for frames. You pay a little bit more than Dollar Tree, but you get such good quality. These are really solid frames for $4, but you could use whatever frame size that you have. I'm using my new Epson photo printer. This is the EcoTank ET8500, as well as some Epson photo paper so I could print these out. It's really easy to use this printer and I've been loving it so far. You just pop in your paper and you print just like a regular printer, but it gives you photo quality images. It has an app that you can just go through and select right from your photos, say what size paper and size prints you want, where you loaded the paper, all of the different options you're used to using, and I have photo quality images really quick at home. Now, if you print this on regular paper, that's totally fine, but I wanted these to look high-end like I ordered them, and so my printer was able to help me with that. Here are some of the different options that I picked from my printable pack. I've got 15 different options for you over on whiskeyandwhit.com, so be sure to check that out so you can see those. But these are the 4 that I decided to do, as well as 2 additional ones. I decided to print the full family photo from the Christmas dinner in the movie. I just got this from Google Images. It's a cast photo, and I also decided to print a family photo of the Griswolds to frame. These printed so nicely and they've printed in about 30 seconds. So if you would like a photo printer to add to your Christmas list, be sure to check the description down below and I'll leave more information about the Epson printer. But I put these in these Walmart frames. These are just 4x6s and it's such a fun touch in my themed bathroom to have both the printables as well as the family picture, because people will probably double take when they are here at my sink. When guests come and they're washing their hands, they'll probably be like, wait, that's actually the people from the movie. Now, I live in Illinois and I'm right outside of Chicago, and so when I saw this SVG file on Etsy, I knew I wanted to make a sign. I've had this clearance sign from Hobby Lobby that I got for a couple bucks just sitting in the basement for a long time, and so I decided to go over the laundry service carefully with some black paint, being sure to keep the outside border nice and intact and not covered in paint. Once that was dry, I just used my Cricut to cut this out, and I will link the SVG on Etsy down below. But it's super cute because it says Eggnog Company. It's a little bit different than what you see traditionally with Christmas vacation stuff. I just used my paper transfer tape that I love from Expressions Vinyl. I like to use this because it's not as sticky as the Cricut brand when I am putting it on top of freshly painted surfaces like this one. It leaves your decal, but it does not peel up the paint, which is awesome. This is a perfect addition to one of the shelves in the bathroom, and be sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because I will be giving you a full tour of my bathroom fully decked out in Christmas vacation decor. So I have hunted for years to try to find an affordable RV for Cousin Eddie, and I have had no luck until recently I was walking through the Wonder Shop at Target and I saw this beauty and I thought, this is it, friends. This is my chance. So I got it. It is 20 bucks, but for me, 20 bucks was not bad. So I started by disassembling all of the pieces and taking them off the outside. This light strand I was able to pop off of the little clips, and so I put that to the side because I want to use it in my final product. I also popped off this wreath and realized both the wreath and the top tree are hooked with little wire pieces, so I just used pliers to get those pieces off and to pop off any extra like little bits that were there. Then before I started painting, I just cut up a little shopping bag, like a plastic bag, and wrapped it around all 4 of the tires because I'm going to spray paint this to kind of give myself a neutral base, and I didn't want to cover them up because the wheels look nice and we could definitely use them. Save us some work. I took my RV outside and covered it with 2 light coats of this flat white spray paint just to give me a neutral base and to cover up that green color. So once that was dry, you can use whatever blue is close. I just pulled up a picture in the store of Cousin Eddie's RV and just kind of tried to match it as best I could. So I went through with a paintbrush and painted the top half of it this color all the way up to the roof, and there's a groove that's halfway up, so I just used that as a guide. I just painted everything above that groove, the blue, up until the ceiling. I extended that strip across the back as well as on the front of my RV to match the movie. Then to start rusting it up, I used some antique wax from Waverly, but you could also use just some brown paint. I did wax and paint just because this looks like it has been there for a lot longer. I went around the areas where it's typically going to rust, so like the wheel wells and different parts of the roof. You can also use the picture from the movie as a guide, kind of where those rust breakdowns are. Also, the wheels in the movie are rusted as all get out, so I added some wax to those as well. Before adding my paint and a little bit more rust, I just used an acrylic marker to put a door on. And then this is nutmeg brown, which is another apple barrel color. And I started by going through and trying to hand draw some of the rust like pieces, and it wasn't working for me. So I just went through and added just some extra color in different spots. If it was too heavy, I used a paper towel or my finger to kind of buff it in. You just want it not to look uniform because rust just hits where it wants to. When that was all done and dried, I just had to do some extra details. So the lights, the front grille, the license plate and the back. And then when everything was dry, I went back in with the little clips plus a little hot glue to hook my lights back on in the center. And then I also put my wreath on the door like it is in the movie, but I removed the bow. I am so happy with how it turns out, and it perfectly fits on the shelf in my bathroom. Now, if you can't find that one at Target or you want something cheaper or smaller for a tiered tray, Dollar Tree has this one, and a lot of other stores have RVs for Christmas too. I spray painted it white. I did the same thing with the blue color at the top. With this one, I had to color in the lights and the wheels, and then I just added some little lights that I had in a strand from Hobby Lobby. This looks so cute on a tiered tray display, also with those little pop Funkos. These I got last year, and they're hard to find at not expensive prices this year, but I will link them in case you could potentially find them. These next ones are super easy vinyl decal projects that I made using this sweater and Christmas tree sign that I got for $3 each at the Target dollar spot. I absolutely love the sweater, and then I ended up grabbing a tree as well, but I knew I wanted to make a Blackhawks essentially jersey like the one that Clark wears in the movie. So this is a free cut file that I will have over on my blog. I just did Griswold and the 00 in the jersey font. I cut them and separated it so I could get it to fit just where I wanted on the sweater. And then to add some more color and to make it look more like a jersey, I just cut by hand 4 strips, 2 for each sleeve in my white vinyl scrap. And then I also grabbed some red vinyl scrap and did 1 on each side. I just trimmed them, and it made it look a lot more like the Blackhawks jerseys. So for us, because we're outside of Chicago, the Blackhawks plus the Griswolds, I really loved it. And then for the tree, I did the same thing, free SVG, but this is, why is the carpet all wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot. This is one of my favorite quotes for Christmas Vacation. Be sure to let me know your favorite Christmas Vacation quote down in the comments as you're watching. I love to know what everybody's favorite is because there's so many gems. I ended up cutting this file in half to apply it. So I did the Margot quote where she's addressing Todd at the top, and then the Todd quote addressing Margot closer to the bottom. And then I just took some red and white baker's twine and tied it across the center to give it kind of organic looking break because of the fact that 2 people are saying that. So I didn't want it to just be one chunk, but I did want it to be one sign. Super quick and easy, especially because these files are available for you over on my blog. And you can also add any other saying or quote that you want to these, but these are an awesome find for $3 at Target. Another pretty quick and easy project are these glitter ornaments. I have made these for years, and I wanted to share them because I don't think I've ever shared them on my channel. So you just need one of these plastic, or you can even use glass ornaments. This is from Dollar Tree in this shape, but you can get them really anywhere if you can't find Dollar Tree. And then you either want a polyacrylic, or you can use some of this Mop and Glow that you can get for super cheap at Walmart. Just put some of whichever fluid you want to use inside of your ornament, and then you want enough that you can really get it coated. So put it in there. You can use a funnel if you have it, but all my funnels are for food, so I wasn't going to put some polyacrylic in there, so I just spooned it in. And then I dumped out the excess and let it sit upside down for a couple minutes just to make sure you don't have any pools of it inside of your ornament. But you want to work decently quick with the glitter because you don't want it to dry on the inside. So I made a paper funnel, again, because I didn't want my food funnels in there. And I just dumped some fine glitter, also from Walmart, into my ornament, shook it around, make sure it was fully coated, and then dumped out the rest of the glitter. I let it dry upside down, and then your ornament will be ready for you to put your cap back on. I did the same thing with some green glitter. This is also from Walmart, and I love this color. I also used it to make some Grinch ornaments for my good friend for her Christmas gift. So after I let these dry overnight, here's what they look like, nice and coated. And then I just used a font that I liked and typed out 2 of my favorite quotes. The first one is, "Oops, well, not here, you work on that." The clerk says to Russ as they're setting up the lights. And then I also did one, "Grace, she passed away 30 years ago with the blessing," with Uncle Lewis. That's another one of my favorites. Now here I'm working chunk by chunk. Because of the curve, it makes it a little more difficult to apply the vinyl. So I'm just going with the center line, applying those, peeling it back, and then kind of working section by section. You can also trim or cut holes in your transfer tape to get it to apply. As you can see here, it's not perfectly straight, but it works to go around there. And I decided to chop up my free cut file and put the blessing on the back of this one. You can also use that Griswold cut file that I shared for the sweater and put that on an ornament. This is a flat one from Michaels. So there are a ton of different options for different movies and things with the glitter. You could use whatever color glitter that you want. I love these. They are so fun. I also wanted to create kind of a kitschy and gaudy garland for my bathroom, and so here's how I did it. I grabbed 2 packs of these 6-count ornaments. They are plastic bulbs, and they're just smaller versions of the ones I just showed you. So I did the same polyacrylic and glitter process, and I did 4 in red and 4 in green to spell out Griswold, which is 8 letters. I also wanted to incorporate some of the moose heads. So this is an ice cube tray that I got with a glass set from Kohl's this year. I had Kohl's cash and was able to get it super cheap, but I will link that down below if you're interested in doing that. I filled some of the openings with some hot glue, made sure it was fully covered, and then I tapped it against my table to remove any air bubbles. Then I just left my hot glue to cool. Once it cooled, it looked like this, and I was able to just pop them out because it is a silicone mold. I would definitely keep in mind if you want to do this for food or other things, you probably don't want to mix the hot glue with it, but I bought this specifically for this craft because I wanted some moose heads. Once they're done and out of the mold, you can take an X-Acto knife and just get rid of any of the extra little wispies. After that, I did 2 light coats of white chalk paint as well as a coat of light gray chalk paint so that they kind of looked like the grayish look that you get from glass. My last step was to hot glue some twine to the back so that I could then tie them to my garland. I just put a little bit of hot glue on, put my twine on, and then put some more on top to kind of entomb it. So then once that was dry, I just added a little bit more gray paint to cover it up. The base of my garland is this Hobby Lobby burlap that I use all the time, and I actually was able to get this for $1.50 on their fall sale. I used my 6-inch dowel needle and some red and white baker's twine to create the garland, and I started in one corner and then I crossed diagonally to the other side and then came back up and crossed again. So you're going to go up and down and cross it throughout the burlap. What that'll do is give you this scrunched look, and then I also wanted to add some texture, so I just added some leftover ribbon that we used to have on our tree, but I changed it this year, so I just wanted to use this. It had red and green in it, which were going to match those ornaments really nicely. I took my twine pieces on my little moose heads and tied them into any open spots so that they were evenly spaced. And then I added Griswold individual letters to each of the ornaments. I just picked a fun Christmas font and applied it to all my ornaments. Then before I attached the ornaments, I hung it up in my bathroom so that I could make sure everything was kind of spaced evenly. I just took some additional red and white baker's twine and tied on the ornaments to that middle baker's twine piece, and it was done. I love the mixture of the Griswold, the glitter kind of sparkle in there, also the little moose heads. This is pretty easy to put together. You could add whatever elements that you want to this garland, and it helps fill out this piece in our bathroom right above the toilet and right under this shelf. In my recent Cricut Christmas video, I made the decal for this mug from Target, and I wanted to create a really fun faux whipped cream topper to go with the Christmas vacation theme. So the first thing to do is get some scrap cardboard and trace the mug that you want to make a topper for. Then you cut out the circle so that you have basically a little thing that will sit on top of your mug. Then before you create your topper, you just want to take some saran wrap or plastic wrap, whatever you have, and wrap that over the top of the mug and then put the cardboard on. That's going to A, protect your mug, and B, help it so that it can be removed from your mug. Then you're ready to make your topper. So I like to use spackling. I've shared this before, but other people have different ways to make this. I just decided to put 2 containers of a Dollar Tree spackling into a bowl with a splash of water to mix it up. And you're looking for the consistency of Cool Whip here when you're mixing it up. Also optional, but I like to add a little bit of white paint. You guys suggested that I do that, and I think it makes the whipped cream a little bit brighter. Then I put my consistency into a just Ziploc bag, cut a hole at the end, and piped it on. It's a pretty easy process. The only thing is you just want to make sure you don't add too much water because that will make it heavier and it will not sit up like this. I gave it about 10-15 minutes to kind of firm up a little bit, and then I started to add my embellishments. I did one of my extra bulbs that I used earlier on in the cloche. I cut apart a paper straw from Hobby Lobby. I saved one of my little moose heads from the hot glue mold, and then these lights came from Hobby Lobby. I just cut off a little piece and draped it across the top to get the Christmas light element. The last thing I added was a little bottle brush Christmas tree in the back, and then it was time to let it sit overnight. Once it was dry overnight, to remove the saran wrap, you just take it off the cup, pop off the top, and then peel the saran wrap off of the bottom of your cardboard piece. And then you have this standalone little topper that you can set on your mug. And I found making them like this makes it easier to store as well. I love this thing. It is so fun and festive. It'll be cute for photos as well as on my tiered tray. Speaking of tiered trays, I also wanted to put some sort of decal on this red camping mug. I got this last year after Christmas at Hobby Lobby, but you can get these still this year. I just got it really cheap. I just cut out this free cut file that I designed and added some more of those little bulbs because I had them left over, and I put it on my tiered tray, and it's super cute. I could also use this mug as well. When you're in need of decor to fill out shelves, I like to find fun shaped signs, and so for this one, I decided to make these 2 signs from this edge glued pine round. The first thing I did was take it outside, clamp it to my work table, and just take my jigsaw and chop it in half. If you have a table saw, you can do that too, but I like my jigsaw. Then for the first one, this one is super simple. You're gonna take one of the halves and stain it. I used Dark Walnut by Minwax, but you could use whatever paint or stain that you want. And then one of these little wood cutouts from Dollar Tree in this little tree shape. I made sure to sand off any of the rough edges because it was pretty roughly cut. And then I painted the entire thing with some green paint. Once that was all dry, I cut out, where do you think you're going to put a tree that big, in black vinyl. And then I did Hey Griswold in white so it would pop off of the stain. Both of these are free cut files over on my blog, and the thing with this sizing is I did the best I could, but I did have to manually place some of it, so don't worry, it happens to everyone. You can kind of improvise as you go. I'm also using my paper transfer tape here so that I don't peel up any of that paint. Once my tree was done, I used that same transfer tape to put on Hey Griswold. Now here I applied the entire thing and didn't like how it looked, and so this happens. It happens to everybody. So I decided to, because it wasn't stuck down, peel up my little pieces and stick it back down exactly where I wanted it, and I liked this much better. I just hot glued my tree on and it was good to go. I love how well it fits with all of the other items, and the half round is something different than what you would buy at the store. The second sign is a buffalo check backed Griswold family sleigh. So this car I actually got this summer at Joann's, and it was part of their summer series, but you can find station wagon cutouts there now in the Christmas section. This was just super cheap. I started by staining it, and then I realized I wanted to paint it, but I just took my jigsaw and chopped off the presents at the top, so it was just a car. Then to get the look of the car, I started by painting the body a kind of darker green color. And then I used my paintbrush in kind of a circling motion to get my wheels black. Then I traced some panels on the side of my station wagon and painted those and filled them in with nutmeg brown paint. Now to get the coverage I wanted, I had to do 2 coats. So I did one, let it dry, and did the second. Then I went through with an Arteza, just marker in yellow to outline my panels. And then I did 2 silver circles surrounded by 1 white outline for the tires. After I added my bumper detail and my handles, my car was good to go. Now I'm gonna kind of whiz through my buffalo check painting technique. So if you want this slowed down, I've got another video that will break it down for you, so you can check that out in the description. I started by painting the entire piece red, and then it was time for my stripes. Now I did my horizontal ones first, so I'm just taking some 1-inch painter's tape and spacing it out with another piece of painter's tape. I'm mixing together that red that I used as well as a little bit of black to darken it for my stripes, because you want it to be a little bit darker than the red that you used. Then go through and paint your stripes and let it dry. Once those were dry, I peeled off those pieces of painter's tape and put it to the side because you're going to need them later. Then I did the exact same thing vertically, using that piece of painter's tape to get it evenly spaced, and worked my way across the piece. Then I went through with a pencil and just marked where the original tape was, so that's the lighter red, and that's going to help you when you go to put your tape back. After I marked those all off, then I did the same thing, painted and let it dry. Then the last step is to replace those horizontal pieces of tape where you made those marks, and you're putting it right back where it was before. That's how you mark off where the lines intersect, and then you can go through with some black paint in your open sections and create the little squares. Now I like to peel this when it's wet, be careful, but then that way you're not gonna have your chalk paint like seal to your sign. If there's any little blips, just go ahead and touch them up and then let it dry. Once that was done, I grabbed my car as well as some picks from Hobby Lobby. I combined 2 of them to get a really obnoxiously full tree like you see in the movie. And then I took some Dollar Tree white twine and wrapped it around the top so it looked like the tree was kind of tied to the car. Last step was to take some hot glue, hook my car to the sign, and this other little half sign was done. The key here is making sure that your wheels are flush with the bottom of your circle, just so then that way you can set it up and you won't have any issues with the wheels like not lining up. And then my final project is this porch sign that I absolutely love. I have wanted a Christmas vacation porch sign forever. As much as I love the movie, a lot of the sayings that people put on those signs are not words that I necessarily want blasted out to my neighbors. So I decided to do one with the opening lines of the song in the movie. So, you know, it's that time. Okay, I won't sing for you, but you know what I'm saying. So for this, I started to get my pieces ready. So I had a car at the top, which I painted like the last sign because I had 2 of them. And then I took one of these Dollar Tree wood trees and painted it green after I filled the top hole so you don't have that hanging hole at the top. Once that was dry, I grabbed my pre-stained piece, and I actually was going to make a sign this summer with this and I never got around to it, so I decided to use it here. It's just a Joann piece of wood, but you can use a 1x8, 1x12, whatever you have on hand as far as wood. Then putting my 2 pieces on the sign, I measured to see how big my decal needed to be. Mine needed to be 29 inches tall and about 9.5 so wide. If you need help cutting a decal larger than your mat, I will link a video down below. I just did a whole tutorial on that in my last Cricut video, so you can check that out and know how to cut this in multiple sections to get a 29-inch decal. Over on my blog, I know I've been mentioning this a ton, but I've got a whole folder full of pretty much every file I'm using today. So if you want to recreate these, I've made it easy for you. You can just get those files. So both the middle section of the sign as well as these pieces for the tree. I did fun old-fashioned family Christmas in white vinyl, and I applied it with a space in the center. I'm not quite sure where the sign's going to live, and so I did a cutout for our last name, but it might also go to a family member if I can't find space for it for the time being. So we're just gonna leave an opening for now, but you could do a last name in that font. I used some hot glue to hook both my tree to the bottom of the sign as well as my station wagon. And then also, this is the tree from the Cousin Eddie RV earlier in the video. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I used it here. Then I also did the same thing with the twine here to tie the tree to the car. I also used some hot glue, but I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to fall off on me. And then my last step was just to apply the decal. It may seem a little bit intimidating applying it this large, so you can cut it into smaller pieces. Or what I do here is I will peel off about 1/4 of it, apply it straight, stick that top part down, and then peel the transfer tape the rest of the way. That can help with, you know, not feeling like the whole thing's just gonna stick and not be in the right spot. Once everything is applied, your sign is ready to go. Like I said, you can customize it with your last name. I plan to use the font Mango Salsa, which is a free download for a script last name. I will also leave the 2 fonts that I used for this down below. I know you guys like to personalize with the same fonts, so I will leave that for you, but I'm hoping I can find a way to weigh this light sign down on my porch so it doesn't fall over, so it can live here permanently. Also too, if you're going to leave it outside and you've got winter elements like I do here in Illinois, be sure to seal it. All right, friends, so now that we're done DIYing, I wanted to share a couple tips on how to put this all together. So the first being this tiered tray setup, and I'm starting with my Amazon tiered tray. I just got this and I love it. There's more space than my old one to decorate. And then I added some lights within the display. These are just some Target fairy lights that I got in the dollar spot that I really think will add to the glow of this. I just, when in doubt, make it glow for Christmas. I added all of my different elements. Some of these are ones obviously that you saw in this video. Others are from different years. So I will link as much as I can, both DIYs as well as things that I've purchased down below. The big moose head cups are from the Kohl's like Wonder Shop. I don't know what they call it. That's Target's name, but the Kohl's stuff. Same with this Cousin Eddie mug. These cute little light bulbs are from Dollar Tree. I made some of these little rolling pins. There's just so many good things here, but this is a fun setup. You can pause and screenshot if you want to try to recreate, but I wanted to share with you how I put together the tiered tray, especially if you don't have the space to decorate a full room like I do. And now I'm so excited to share my 2021 Christmas vacation bathroom with you all. So I have a lot of light elements in here and we're planning on having a Christmas get together. So this is what it'll be like when our guests open the door with the light off in the bathroom. Everything will be glowing, which I absolutely love. The first thing you see are these pieces of artwork on the wall. I framed the 2 on the outside and then I DIY'd the one in the center last year. So check out my 2020 video if you want to make that. I added some vintage bulbs around my mirror. These were actually my late grandpa's lights, so I'm excited to be able to incorporate those into the room. I just draped them up over our existing lights and then used some command strip hooks around the outside to make sure that the little cords stayed out of the way. And then I added 2 of these metal ornaments from Hobby Lobby. The sink area is pretty fun. I wanted to keep it pretty minimal. I used some frames as well as this cute little Santa. It reminded me of the Santa at the beginning of the movie, and I got this year at Target. This is a printable I just did, and then the sign is from 2018. That was the first Christmas vacation DIY I ever did. And then for the linens, I found this tree towel at Marshall's this year, and then this floor mat I got last year on clearance. I know why, because the A looks like a D, but because it's so kitschy, I just thought it could live in there. That's what I think of when I think of this movie. Now turning to the other wall, I've got my 2 IKEA shelves, and here is what it looks like with everything glowing. You guys know what you just saw in the video, but then also the little glass tree is from Target and the play ball is from last year's video. I also got this cute little figurine that reminded me of the movie from Walmart this year. Other than the eggnog sign, the other 2 next to Clark were DIYs last year. Same with the little Tylenol bottle. It's just a little Dollar Tree bottle with some Dollar Tree Tylenol, but it works so well with these lights that I made this year. And of course, the piece de resistance of this bathroom is the RV. And the last piece is this wreath I made last year. It faces the inside, and this bathroom just makes me so happy.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to let me know your favorite down in the comments. And also I will link all of the free files and also my previous Christmas vacation videos if you want to keep watching to get some more inspo. Also, a huge thank you to everyone that has subscribed. I recently hit 100,000 subscribers and I am so thankful for the support you give this channel. Also, a huge happy Thanksgiving to everyone that celebrates, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!